All right, let's see. That should go.
You could send the tweet. I mean,
And I will do the. Well, I try to start the stream before I send the tweet.
interesting.
Not that it takes that many clicks for people to join us. Yay!
It's a thing.
It's a thing. That's good.
We don't have a schedule. A posted schedule for the meetings.
Yeah,
the GitHub discussion area.
Yeah.
It's a problem if you don't. I don't know what the world is with the storm of fecal matter that is Twitter. Where else we should be posting this stuff, right?
Yeah, it's a problem. It's on my deeper down the list of things to think about. I have an attempt. I'm going to try my personal website to move away from just blog and more to site and see if that goes somewhere. Music's a little too loud. That's probably true because it did go up quite a bit. I think I need to change that automation not to be so loud. And maybe Bob is a little quiet. It looks like his levels were running a little lower than Sean's. I don't know.
Lower.
Not in decibels, okay. Not octaves.
Got it.
9:30. All right, we'll go here. Let's see.
Why? Here. I am on YouTube.com. Cannot find how to get to the stream.
On YouTube.com, how to get to the stream.
I am, of course, subscribed to the WiX channel.
So are you on the WiX channels on YouTube.com?
No. Oh, there it is. Okay. Traditionally, it, has been, it comes up, right? It comes up right away. It's like on the home page. Sometimes I have to go search through my channels. Mm-hmm. And the sort order for channels that you subscribe to is not alphabetical.
You mean your subscriptions?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's the order they last posted or something. It gives you the order that things have come in, I think is what they do.
I don't.
All right.
I'd have to look.
All right, let's see.
I don't think that's right. But...
Zach says it seemed to work better several months ago. I don't know. We'll give a couple minutes, see who shows up. We're usually waiting for a Jacob, but we'll see. Doobie-doo. Bunch of things to cover today. More than I would like. But 'tis the way it goes. Defender thinks it found another threat on my machine. No, it did not find a threat. Why does it tell me it did not find any threat? I don't understand. Notifications in Windows 10.
Hey, look at me.
Windows 10 and Windows 11 have not gone in the right direction. Not gone in the right direction. Loving WiX 4. Oh, that's great. Good to hear that, Verzak. Love to hear that, actually. What do you love about WiX 4? Is it the small language improvements we've made? The acquisition experience? The fact that Burn has, I don't know, 99.9% of its bugs fixed thanks to Sean? Which of those are the three things. ARM 64 is another thing that WiX 4 has. Or is it just, I don't know. A lot of it's just modernizing the whole thing. Oh, the .NET command line. Interesting. See, Bob, the .NET command line.
Blah, blah, blah.
Not having to install a toolset globally is nice. Yeah. So that's the whole new acquisition experience. So for a sec, why are you using the command line instead of an MS Build project? Just, I mean, instead of a Wix project, the answer could be because nothing uses MS Build. That's a very good reason. But if it's not that, I'm curious why you would choose the XE. I've been fighting a lot with our older Viewport 3 project. Yeah, so I've said the same thing, Zach, we have some software that we maintain for V3, and it is just harder to get all the pieces into it. And V4's acquisition experience is really, really nice. So it was a lot of work, but we got it there. So
it's not over.
Well, it's not over.
Visual Studio seems to make it an ongoing battle.
Yeah, we'll see. So first, I would be curious why you're choosing to use a .NET command line. Maybe you're writing a book. It sometimes takes a while to chat. And if you do that, I can run it from PowerShell without the extra environment variables. Yeah, but why not a Wix proj? That's the part I'm curious. You're not using Wix proj because your customer's not using Wix MS Build for the things. Let's see. Turn off my notifications on my phone so I don't get interrupted that way. I'm just curious, really just curious. Because generally I think most people are using the MS Build situations. So, all right, let's go ahead and get this party started. I think. Go ahead and you guys communicate and chat while we're rolling. I'll just get this intro here and then get ourselves into the things we're covering today. But PowerShell doesn't have MS Build. Interesting. Okay, interesting. All right, here we go. I am curious about that more, but we need to get going because it is now 9:36, and I hope Jacob's hanging around and just chilling out in the back, but he can show up in roll call. Here we go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is the WiX Online Meeting 254, March 23rd. Today's a big day. I'll talk about why. This meeting is recorded for those of you that aren't with us right here, right now, and those that are, welcome. Zach and Verzak. Hey, that's kind of cool. Anyway, have been joining us in chat, talking about how much they've been enjoying Wix 4 and the improvements over Wix 3. Let's go talk about what we're talking about today. We will be talking about the Wix 4 release plan, and then we will do the issue review and triage, and we will then take anybody's questions and comments. We've already been getting some comments that have been positive, which is kind of nice. It's awesome. And yeah, let's look at the release plan. Nothing's changed. It is what we are doing is the March 4 Wix 4. RC4 did come out on Friday. Yay. We're going to talk about the issues that we've had because there's been a few that have been opened, and that's probably the reason I'm a little less confident about everything right now, but that's what we're going to talk about. Right now, I think that everything says that we are going to be releasing in a week and a half. That is a Wednesday. So I remember 2 weeks from yesterday is kind of the thing we're looking at. So yeah, that's the current plan. Let's go talk about triage because that's actually where we're going to have the discussion about really where we're at. But right now we are saying that we are releasing in 2 weeks from yesterday. 2 weeks from yesterday. Not a lot of time. It feels a little surreal, I'm going to be honest with you, that we're finally at this point, having worked on this for so long. But let's go talk about the issues. Bob, you ready?
We're not there yet.
Bob?
I am ready.
All right. We're going to start with the oldest issues and work our way down from there. This first one we dismissed last time to get more information, and some people gave us more information. Yep, he provided more information, and then Bob reopened it. So in the end, this just sounds like an interesting feature, Bob, that we could do if someone wanted to do it.
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't want to put this in the engine, but I think it's worth looking at. I wouldn't. My own thing. I would like to keep burn svelte, so I don't know exactly how much it would incur in size costs to use the WinGet API.
Oh yeah. Right.
But It's worth
All
looking at.
right,
I would
it needs
put
a
this
web.
up for grabs,
Yeah, it
and
needs a
it
web.
definitely
Yeah.
it's
Usually the things that I stick on this, the hardest part of this is the security around, make sure that everything comes down and you
absolutely.
know what you're getting.
Yep.
That's the hard part almost always. All right. So that could go up for grabs, and someone that's
Yep.
interested in working that feature could go ahead and do so. WiX 4 Net 7 Harvest Missing XE project. So someone's trying to use Harvest Project, pulling these things in, and is getting some of the files. And for whatever reason, the output group is not pulling the XE, I think is the issue. Yeah. And that's going to be probably the choice of .NET to not include it in the binaries output group. I'm trying to find
That's my guess.
Yeah. So this, I don't think is our bug. It's kind of like, yeah, that's the way it goes. And honestly, with .NET apps, you need to publish them for them to work, unfortunately, which makes Harvest Project not terribly useful given the way that project, you have to publish a project to make it all work. So I don't think their expectation is going to work out for them given projects. Hey, that's what Zach just said. Probably just have to publish to get everything to work out right.
So could there be additional output groups that are populated after a publish?
No, not well. They're not output groups at that point. I mean, we could fake it, but like right now, all this is supposed to live in the C# project. So like, yeah, they could do that. Right? C# could do that. That would be cool if they did. So should I have said, hey, give us the published output group, that they would run the
Right.
published target and then give us that output group? Yeah, that would be great. That does not exist. There's a publish output group. I don't know that there is, Zach. If there was, that would be awesome. Maybe that.
Well, I agree. It should definitely be part of C# rather than
Yes.
WiX. But
yeah, there is one. Whoa, I have to go look at that. I'm gonna have to go look at it. All right, well then that's the answer. Go use publish output group. Awesome. I need to go dig into that because I missed the publish output group then. I was not looking in the right place. So that's great. That's exactly what you want here. So anyway, that's harvesting is doing what it's doing. It's just .NET 7, .NET 6, .NET Core projects in general are a little bit different because you really need to publish them instead of just building them. So I think that's, I don't know what that is, external, or I think it's right. What he's getting is correct right now. He or she is getting is correct right now. Publish items output group. I'm going to go look that up. Thank you, Zach. That's great. I am going to go look at that right after this meeting. That's exciting to go look at. All right, cool. So I don't think this is a bug. I think that's the correct behavior for what they're doing there. And Zach has suggested using the publish items output group instead. Okay, next one is bundle projects don't handle things. So I've been leaving all the issues in at this point in time open, even though I have fixed some of them. Bundle projects don't handle projects with spaces. I don't think that's the issue here. Let me remind myself. Oh, yeah, all right. So this issue is that if they have spaces in their project names, that the auto generation of properties and bind names was not working correctly in V3. It did not work. It would create property names with spaces, which of course you could then refer to them, which is useless. And in WiX 4, we now replace those spaces with underscores. Actually, any invalid character gets replaced with underscores so that you can then refer to them. Yay! And so this is, in the end, I just updated the documentation to make it clear that new behavior in 4. So that was a doc bug in the end, and I did that. So I think we can unmark this triage. But I left it here so that we would talk about it in case there's anything anybody else wanted to talk about these things. Okay. Pause. No? All right. That was straightforward. Prereq license won't compile despite package rep actually being set. Sean, you know all about this one.
Yeah, it was a really simple bug where if you had the order wrong, then it wouldn't compile. So...
Wrong, quote unquote.
I mean, really simple fix, really annoying bug to run into. So
Yeah, that's what we're. All of them are really annoying at this point. So I think we had a chat. Let me pull up the PR here, right? We were having a little thing like, all right, so we need to find the bar that we're going to take for bugs that go in now and aren't going to get any real user validation, additional user validation at this point. And so that's what we have to talk about. And we need to do so because we're going to get more of these bugs. In fact, we have another one here in the merge modules failing to build when there's spaces in the paths. What do we want to do here? I think we take them. It feels like we should, especially if we can create the tests that validate them, that we're confident that the unit test will cover this, even though people won't validate it until the final WiX 4 build and RTM, unless they go and grab a dev build where the fix is, and most people aren't doing that.
Some are trivial, like this one, 7287. Yep. Completely unit testable, 100%.
Yep.
Others are also unit testable or integration testable, and I 100% would push up the. Sorry, I'm losing a metaphor. At this point, or really in the past, couple months, we should be pushing up, what we require for changes in terms of tests. So,
yeah, okay.
Maybe space in a path was something that we would, validate manually and be happy. Now, yeah, we should have a test. I think that is the case.
So you're saying that you feel pretty good if we have a test that's validating it, and that we probably can take it because we wrote a test for a case that was missing a test. I guess especially if it was missing a test in the past.
Absolutely. Right. And other things too. It's like at this point, it'd be good to get at least one other set of eyes on changes and all your normal stuff.
So a required reviewer on the PRs at this point?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if they're one-line changes and they have a test for it,
then how much better is it going to get, right? Yeah. So just
how much user validation is required?
Right. A little background, like when I grew up as a software engineer, right, there was this ever-present fear. Sorry, and this was Office, right? So the pressure always there was you realize this is a multi-billion-dollar software project that we're going to be pushing out the door, and granted, release times were ginormous, and there wasn't a huge unit testing culture yet. So there's a lot of differences back then that I've always been trying to let go as I've been moving, but it's like kind of where I grew up. And there's always the story that someone had in the lab that was like, well, the cosmic ray got us one time, and there's a compiler bug that when we rebuilt the software, it introduced this thing that caused all these problems, and you can't send that out to millions of people with the thing. All right, so whatever. So it was always the fear of even, doing anything was a bad. So just like, okay, that's from before. Now, I think what Bob has said is that if you have a test for it, we can validate it. And I'm adding the addendum, especially if there wasn't a test before, so it was obvious we didn't check it, then probably we can just take it knowing that, the test is validating it. Everything is good. Plus, we can ship after RTM. And I'm trying to do everything in my trying to get comfortable with yes, we will probably have to do a 401 after 4 goes out because we'll have people that jump on and find something bad that we need to fix. So the answer now is take this. Probably should have someone always review it just to double check to make sure the test is there or whatever. Just a little bit extra work here in these last couple weeks, but we'll take the fixes as they come in with the with tests to go along with them. Sounds good? Sound like the right plan?
Yeah.
So on that front, this definitely can go, although I don't think anybody's officially said, I don't know, I haven't even been using the reviewer things. I'll go and if we want to make it official, I could go add the reviewer thing, say thumbs up on that one. All right. So that one will be good to go. Page not found, docs 4.3 bundles. So this one's interesting. I saw this come in. Usually I just try to fix the URLs really fast. But I know Bob, reorganized the code, the code.
It broke a bunch of URLs.
Yeah, but this one is interesting in that it didn't even exist for like, I don't know, 3 days.
It was like 3 days, and there's already Google.
And Google already found it.
Engine juice, yeah.
Right, but but not enough that it's really out there. So if we wait another day, probably Google's already lost it or found it in the new place in the index. Do we need to create a redirect for this? Normally, I'd say we need to create a redirect for it, but I don't think we do since it was so short-lived.
Yeah, I also left it open and didn't fix it because it's worth discussing. Bigger issue is, are there other URLs, not just the v4 URLs, that we're not redirecting and should be? In other words, what do our 404 logs look like? And I was kind of obsessive on my blog. I'm like, oh, someone points to a bad page. I'm like, I should look at that. And well, no, that was never URL, so I will ignore that 404. Given the reorg is kind of in this weird state where we haven't shipped 4 yet, I'm hoping that the new organization will allow more organic growth without needing to reorg again. I don't know if it makes sense to do little one-off redirects, or if we should I don't know, create a 404 project to fix some of these things.
So I think if you're worried about us missing lots of pages, then that sounds like a reasonable thing to do. I think in this issue we could just close this one without a redirect since it was so short-lived. But this is the exception. This is a very unusual case that something moved within such a small space.
I agree. Again, I just kept it open for this discussion.
Fair enough. I don't know. Yeah, I kind of said, all right, we have a 404 page. At least people can now tell us when they hit one and hopefully tell us where they came from. Right. I haven't done the work to try to get into the referrer logs and all that for it. Given the way that the new doc site takes it, it takes all files. So it, but yeah. So yeah, all right. So if you think we need to do a 404 cleanup, then we can definitely, or a 404 tracking project, we could definitely add that separate from everything else.
Okay, I don't think it's high value at the moment, and I'm willing to let some of those resolve themselves naturally from search engines as they find the new pages.
Yeah. So
I think we should do this. I'm fine if it's post RTM kind of thing.
All right. So I think we can send this one on its way, knowing that hopefully search engines don't even find the new location already. Okay. All right. Merge modules, build from MS build. Anyway, the end result, the issue here is that if there are spaces in the merge module path where things are being extracted to, you hit a problem. Thank you very much for providing the repro. That did narrow down very rapidly what was going wrong. And I have a fix for this that I definitely want other people to review. And I did it last night late just to make sure that it was no more complex than I thought it was. But I think I may want to add another. I want to look at the test to make sure I'm getting enough test coverage on it. But that is that. And I wanted also to have it here so that we could talk about this escaping trail / when passing ours to WiX native to go along with the other bug that we talked about earlier, way before I knew what our thoughts were. So in the end, I dismiss. There's the fix, and then there is the change path with spaces is the change necessary to expose the problem. So I think this ends up in the similar bucket as the other one. Okay, it's someone else to review it, make sure it looks good, and then make sure there's enough test coverage, and then we'll go with it. Correct?
Yeah.
All right. That one is disappointing. It makes me want to go through and honestly change this code here where we get a temp folder in our test to always add a space to all tests. Which is like, it always gives back a test folder that has a space in it.
I like that. We already have a centralized place to get past. We can have spaces or Unicode or
It was late last night, so I didn't do that because I just want to make sure I got the fix right. But that might be something I add. Just go, all right, let's put this in here and see if anything else blows up. All right, we're getting a rash of these now of the modern MS build. It is clear that not a lot of people have dealt with the modern MS build, the new SDK style projects and CS projects, things like that. There's still a lot of people working with the older way of doing MS build. This is another one of the examples of those where someone was using the post-build events, and post-build events are, I think, generally frowned upon in the C# projects now, given the way you have to do them. I mean, I think they're still supported for backwards compatibility, but using them requires using the explicit imports of SDKs. Anyway, all of this is detailed knowledge that if you're not familiar with SDK style projects, you're going to have to get familiar with it to work inside WiX projects because we've adopted that. And I only have this conversation, or I've discussed this because it's surprised me the number of people that aren't familiar with it or that blame us because we're the first ones they've ever interacted with these things. Like, well, clearly your targets are missing. I'm like, no, the targets come. Oh, they're not used to these SDK style things. So, which is fine, I guess. It's like that's what you get for living on the cutting edge of the build for so long. That have to remember a lot of people are just continue to maintain their CS projects with no problem without the new style stuff. So we're getting a lot of these right now. But in the end,
sure we're on the cutting edge.
Cutting edge.
SDK has been around for a long time.
That's true. it's cutting. I mean, well, there's nothing ahead of SDK style, so at least we've caught up. So anyway, I just wanted to bring this up is that this is a bug that has occurred. We're starting to see it pop up all over the place. I'm just trying to gird myself that we're going to get more of these as people have to learn, oh, I need to go learn a new thing about MS Build that I've never had to worry about before. Yes.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing is that it's mostly hidden from you. I mean, even if you're targeting .NET Framework, you can get an SDK style you will get an SDK style project out of Visual Studio.
Not necessarily. You can still create old style projects in Visual Studio.
You can, but the most direct route does not do so.
Well, if you target .NET Framework, I think you get the old style projects.
Okay. Last time I checked, that wasn't the case. But
I was back a couple dots on Visual Studio here.
Okay. Okay.
It was surprising. I was like, I'm getting these gigantic, huge projects still. I'm like, I thought they would have moved all these by now, but maybe they have the same problem. All these people expect it the old way,
right?
And don't want to go through the experience of teaching everybody the new way.
I have to look. I know I've seen it somewhere, so I generalized. That was a mistake.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's a thing. We're going to be dealing with this a lot. Any of you that want to help us, you only get an SDK if you create a project targeting core. That's Zach has the same memory that I do for it. It's
all right.
And if you create a WiX 4 project, you will get an SDK style project. And yes, there are differences in SDK style projects. And if they are unfamiliar to you, I highly recommend going and reading the MS Build documentation about them because they have lots of nice features and you will understand better how we've made the whole system hold together. It will not be magic. And when you try to do things the old way, you will at least have an idea that there might be newer ways to do it. I'm not sure if they're better, but if you want to keep doing it the old way, you'll know that you have to do some not as pretty MS Build things to have it show up, like doing explicit SDK imports, which I do not like, and I never remember the syntax for, so I try to avoid them. And by the way, Heatwave will, if you convert your V3 project, maybe link to that's actually not a bad. Maybe go create a link somewhere. It's like I definitely don't want to recreate the SDK style projects. Zach brings up the idea of linking to SDK style docs. Maybe there's a place we could put that, although nobody's going to find it. Anyway, the last thing I was saying is HeatWave will convert, if it finds that you're using post build, it will do the right thing and convert your projects with the appropriate SDK style, whatever necessary SDK style imports, explicit imports or implicit imports or whatever. It'll do the right thing to try to give you the minimal project. So if you convert, it just does it for you. Maybe that's bad that people are like, it just works. So they create their new project next time and then it doesn't work and they didn't realize the work HeatWave did for them. I don't know. It's definitely that. So learn SDK style projects if you're going to be modifying the WiX project. I guess that's the long story that doesn't matter at all. All right. Next one, WiX for RC HeatWave project. So this should go over to the HeatWave people, which is me in a different place, but does not have a patch option. And that is correct. Patch is not officially supported in WiX projects at the moment. As this person points out, it can kind of work, but we've not got any tests or any validation that it's going to work. So this is, I think, I don't know if we mark this external and send it over the FireGiant side for them to say, correct, patches aren't supported, but we could also say that patches aren't officially supported in WiX for patch projects. Sorry, let me be very explicit. Creating a patch from a WiX proj is not currently supported. Like, it might work. It might work in some limited scenarios. It might not work in some more extended scenarios. It is not yet supported.
But the burn end-to-end tests do have those projects.
Yes, I know you can do it, but I don't know.
There's nothing special about them, thanks to the work you did in V4.
Right, but I don't.
It's now just another invocation of the normal build.
Yeah, I just don't know that it really works yet. Like, there's no other test besides.
Back that you said there was no tests.
So okay. Well,
there are tests.
There are tests that use it, but there's no test for the patch project itself.
Right.
That go. This is validating the actual patch behaviors. So that's what's missing. Is actually validating that patch projects work. So, some tests use this option. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. So I guess it's the beginnings. You could try, what do we call it? It's experimental. It's like, yeah, it works in some cases, but we haven't validated all the way everywhere.
Yeah.
I think that's the answer.
HeatWave should not block it, I would say. Maybe it doesn't let you, there are no project templates for it, but
there's definitely no project templates. And this little drop down, I don't know what this little drop down is going to do. You'd have to go try it in HeatWave. Like, what does this drop down show if you make it a patch project inside HeatWave? I don't know what it's going to do. It's because it's not, we haven't finished the support for it to know that it works everywhere. So anyway, that's the answer to this one, is that, yeah, we don't quite have patch projects to it. It's interesting that someone wants to do that as well. I haven't seen that. I don't know if they're just doing completions or actually want to try to build a patch from a WiX proj. It makes sense.
I pointed this person to the burn test for the manage custom action, and I think they just started poking around.
Yep. Maybe we should add a thing that says like experimental on this, or so. I don't know. Sorry. Anyway, the answer is yeah. We have not completed the validation that this will work. A lot of it comes down to, for example, like, I don't think that the very end of the build that does the whole copying, laying out the bin folder and all that, I don't know that understands MSPs at all, and I don't trust that it does. So like, there's a lot of work left to be done there for it to work correctly in all scenarios. So anyway, that's not a bug. That is, I guess that's a feature request. Is to support
in
patches
HeatWave.
for WiX projects. And then, well, in WiX and HeatWave, yeah. Because we're not there yet in WiX. I don't want people thinking, oh, I can create a patch WiX proj. Well, you can try, but we have not verified that it's worked yet.
The lack of a template is, fair warning.
Yeah, it's definitely a hint. So, all right.
So for the 404,
404.
when I search for something in that page, Google is still showing me the old path. So do you have a way of poking Google and making it re-index?
No.
Yeah, you can request it with their webmaster tools, but surprisingly, it does take some time.
Yeah.
So like I search for removal of display internal UI in quotes, and the only result I get is the old path.
Yeah, they
maybe
haven't.
Just add a redirect if you want. You can add a redirect from the old one to the new one. That'll work. Or even, yeah, that would work. So like, it's in here. I'm surprised it's taking Google that long after. When did the changes go yesterday, or is it 2 days ago?
At least 2 days ago. It was this week.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, I pushed it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Yeah, I know. I saw it and I'm like, oh, Sean, I'm going to rearrange your stuff. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, if you want to add a redirect, that's fine. It won't hurt anything. And I mean, there's so many already. It's like, what's one more? Hopefully eventually it will go away.
I'll take it and add a redirect.
All right.
Because I'm also apparently adding something about MS Build SDKs.
I think I don't know, maybe. I don't know. It's
fine. Know. If you keep talking, I'll do it during the meeting.
Yeah. People, I don't have a lot of hope that people are going to find a doc page that says, hey, you need to know about MS Build SDK stuff. But maybe it'll help some people be like, oh, this is new. Oh, this is cool. I should use this everywhere.
The title is MS Build. So.
Oh, all right. Well, there's hope then.
If you believe people read documentation.
Maybe if we put it, do people read the big yellow colorful boxes more or less? I don't know. That's one of the things.
It says tip. I'm going to skip
it. I don't know. Is it like it's not in the text? I don't know what they do. Or they see that first. Whatever. All right. So staring at this, 1, 2, no, yes. Wait. No. Okay, this is refreshed. All right, so that's not a bug. That does go away. That's if someone's had to redirect, that's fine. So 2 issues found in the last little bit that have been in there since the beginning, and we're missing tests. So we have now added tests. We will get the fixes in. Does that change our attitude about WiX for RTM? And I'm going to ask this every time we take a set of fixes or do anything. I'm going to ask that question. And I'm going to hope the answer is still no.
I haven't seen any bug or fix so far that would make me reset.
All right.
Yeah. And they're all one-liners anyway.
Yeah. Almost one-liners, yeah. Mine's 3, but yeah.
I'm fine as long as the ratio of code fix to new test is like 20-1.
Sure. All right. So I guess that was a question. Other things people want to talk about, discuss, things like that. While you're thinking about that in chat and starting to type in your question and all the things going about, my question is, should we have a meeting next Thursday or next Friday or the following Tuesday, whatever, before releasing RTM to do any final pass of are we fixing these bugs or not? More bugs will come up before we do triage. I expect that we will do like we did here, which is fix them, make sure there are unit tests for them, and then add a reviewer just to make sure that someone else looks at it before we commit the change. So we can do that process as we're going through making things go. Do we all want to get together sometime between now and RTM to reconvene, reevaluate? Any thoughts? Bob, Sean?
I think we should continue to do what we did, which was to propose fixes and talk about them. We don't want to postpone discussion of an issue for a meeting.
Okay. All right.
Unless you're proposing daily meetings, which
No.
I hope you're not.
No.
I don't think we. Yeah, I think we can do everything async.
Do we want to have another check-in meeting before the end? Not daily, but like literally, one more before the end of days, or we're like, yeah, you know what? This is it. The next time I see you, which would be March 6th, would be the day after WiX 4 goes out.
April
6th. Sorry, I said March. My bad. April
I'm okay
6th.
with. I could do a meeting on April 4th instead of April 6th if you want.
We could move it to Tuesday. That really will mess with people. Tuesdays instead of Thursdays, or not.
Didn't we do them on Tuesdays at one point?
I'm sure we did them on Tuesdays at one point.
Yeah.
But not for a long time.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're mysterious. I like that idea. It's the I don't know, final go no go.
Right. And honestly, a little party, I guess. I don't know, like a little bit, yay. No, that won't happen until it's out and we don't get any bugs for at least 3 months. No.
Well, that's not going to happen.
I know. A guy can dream. All right, I've filled a lot of space. I'm hearing a consensus that we take the first meeting of April, which would normally be on the 6th, and instead have that meeting on the 4th, review the world, look at it, and then make the final nod on WiX for RTM, GA, whatever, final release the following day. Okay. Let's go ahead and pencil that in. I will update the YouTube schedule and I will put in the meeting out there and all that good stuff for people to think about attending Tuesday, 9:30 Pacific Daylight Time, less than 2 weeks from now. All right, that's the plan. Otherwise, we will continue to keep track of issues, resolve them as they come in. Hopefully no more fixes because we've got them all. Again, I know I'm dreaming, but and get prepared for pushing everything out on April 5th this year. Anything else people have out there? Stuff going on? No? If not, I think we're good. I think that's all we have going on. And we'll be back in 12 days, I guess that would be. Not 14, 12. A dozen of days. We'll be back in a dozen of days. It's close. Things are looking pretty good. The fixes are really small, and there are cases that we just missed. So that's generally good, I think. We've had good coverage. People have been picking up WiX 4. Pick up WiX 4 RC4 if you haven't already. Use it. Try it out. Even if you don't commit your changes to your organization, convert all your code, do a build, make sure things are generally working. Although, honestly, it's getting a little late. But that's all right. We'll deal with that. So, I think I filled enough space. We'll be back in 12 days. Not 2 weeks, 12 days. April 4th. And we will hopefully be just ready to celebrate the final release of WiX 4 to RTM. All right. Until then, we're all going to stay vigilant. I recommend you do go out there and use WiX, and we'll see you in 12 days. Bye.
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 I need the music to go back. That's what I want to do. Where is that?
And you thought the code was the hardest part.
The code was the hardest part?
No, it's clearly the music on your stream.
It's just I keep refining little things that I'm like, oh, I have, I push buttons, things are all automated. I'm like, yay, I don't have to push like 6 buttons to make things stop and start and all that kind of stuff. And I was talking to myself going, I would like the music to come back at the end of that meeting right here, because we end up talking usually a little bit in case there's anything else for the for those people that hang out with us, in chat that are here live, you get a little bit of the before and you can get a little bit of the after. If anything pops up that's not there for everybody else, and they miss out. And I'm totally fine with that. So I don't know if Zach's still here. Zach's still here, if any of you guys are still out there. But Zach, thank you for the context. I am going to go look at that published items output group. I'm going to have to go figure out where that's at because I missed it. I'm very excited about that.
So why do you need to do the SDK targets import separately?
SDK targets import separately for that issue that the person brought up?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to use a target name in their property. So what they're doing, the way that the item, the event, the post build event works is you define a property with a whole bunch of strings in it. It takes not string, a string in it. That string gets written to a batch file and then executed. But because it's a property, it gets evaluated in order inside the MS build file. If it was an item, it would get evaluated later. But because it gets evaluated in order, they have a property that says post build event, and then they use a property inside that property, like target name or target path or whatever. Those are set by the wix.targets file, which gets included after your project, you could imagine, right? So your project pulls in the wix.props at the very beginning of your project, above any of your properties. You get the contents of your project, and then the wix.targets gets put in at the end of your project. So if you use any properties inside your project that are defined in wix.targets, well, they're still blank at the time that you get evaluated.
Cool. I should be able to write that up.
Yeah. So by explicitly specifying the SDK imports, you can now define properties before wix.props and then after, and targets and things like that after wix.targets. And we've tried to write wix.targets in such a way, because there's a fix for that a little while ago for, was it signing? I forgot which one it was, such that you could override a target correctly and not have to do that special import output. I forgot what it was. Anyway, there's a fix we made so that you could do that. So we've tried to write it that way, but there are many things that we cannot, like target name gets calculated from a whole bunch of things. Therefore, It must be very late. And actually, I think a lot of some of those things I think he was even using was even defined in wix.common.targets, which of course we can't move the order of that either. So if you want to put things after wix.targets, you have two options. One, explicitly import wix.targets. The second option is to use a build.directory.targets, because that will get imported after some of those things, and sometimes that could work for you too.
That's project local.
No, that's not. I mean, well, it depends on where you put your directory.build.targets.
Wix can't provide one.
No, correct. No, we can't. But just different ways of solving, of skinning the cat. Yeah. So,
but all that being said, you're not really supposed to use post build event anymore.
And they stopped. Right. Stop. Yes. Right. Post build event, as Zach and Sean both said, has been not recommended anymore because of the design change that the C# guys made. They purposely did this, and then they said, "Yes, okay, cool. Let's have people stop using post build event." Also, it was pretty hacky anyway. It's extremely hacky the way it works. So.
Oh yeah. It's especially if you want multi-line batch file.
It works even with multi-lines. I think you can put new lines in the property.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It is a single property, so to get multiple lines, you have to don't you actually have to encode the character trend line feeds? I
don't remember. I don't use it enough.
Because it's bad.
Exactly. I just create targets and schedule them where I want them. And that, to me, that feels much more clean, and I can get control of it. Plus, I get the before and after, or the inputs, outputs, so that I can make sure that my target only runs when it's supposed to, and yada. But I totally recognize that I am way deeper in MS Build than anybody deserves to be, given all the Wix.targets stuff that has had to be done.
Yeah, no, again, they are new, and apparently if you're still targeting a framework, you might not have seen them yet. So, and you got to admit, it breaks down, right? Having to manually import the SDK props and targets. I mean, at least it's available, but it breaks down from the cuteness that is the SDK attribute on the project element.
Correct.
It's a good sign that you're doing something wrong.
Also true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I wish other people thought that. Instead, they come after us and say, "You broke me." Yeah. There's a number of fundamentals about MS Build to understand that once you get them, a whole lot of things start making sense. Because the fact that the evaluation order is the trickiest part, the fact that properties are evaluated in order, but items are evaluated later, so you can use properties inside items, that can really simplify your world a lot. So the evaluation order in MS Build is one of those things that once you get that sorted out of your head, a lot of other things end up working. And then once you understand that batching and target batching and item batching exists, not that you have to remember how to do it, just that it exists, then you can go reread the documentation anytime you have to do it, because the syntax of that thing is nasty. Then
every time you have to do it.
Every time you have to do it, then you can at least, then that's the second thing. Okay, I know this exists, I'll work on it. And then actually before that, probably the difference between item metadata and item property and properties is probably good. No, sorry, that just came up in the conversation, the discussion out there. So I've spent quite a bit more discussion just in the last few days. So I don't know if that's coincidence or if more people are just trying Wix 4 now. Things like that. I got a guy trying to use me as a glorified search engine. I'm like, come on, try. I'm not going to answer your questions straight up. I'm going to make you go do work and help us find bugs. I'm not just going to search the engine for you.
Well, interestingly, the rate of uptake, I mean, it's hard to judge because, the previous RCs were a month apart, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, we've been getting tighter, faster. Yeah.
Yeah, but in previous RCs, we managed about 100 a day from NuGet.org, but Wix for RC4 is up to about 160.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right.
So I think people are going, oh wait, he wasn't kidding.
Did we lose Verzak? Or is he just kind of lurking? I think we've lost him. It's all right. Glad he showed up. I'm glad he's enjoying Wix 4. Or he's not enjoying, he's loving Wix 4. Well, that's a good sign.
Even better.
It's it's better than coming show up and go, I hate Wix 4. You guys did it all wrong. Be like, oh, why? What do we need to understand? What did we get wrong? That thing. No. You're right.
Clearly someone saying that is just wrong.
No, I mean, well, I assume that they're going to show up in chat and throw something out that they're here trying to get their, well, they could just be being mean, I guess. But anyway, I would want to understand so we could be just like, oh, yeah, you're right. That is still broken. We did not fix that, whatever that might be. Because there's certainly plenty of things to go do more work on. Like frickin' per user registry keys for installing shortcuts to the user profile, like the desktop folder. So painful.
To understand what's actually wrong.
Yeah.
And whether it's ignorable.
Yeah. So, all right. We will be back for meeting 255 just before the release, hopefully, of
Oh,
Wix
that's
4.
perfect. That's perfect.
Why?
We will end on meeting FF.
Oh,
the first
255
one
is
after Wix 4 ships is meeting 100.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna. All right. Is Zach the only one here? I know Sean's still. No, wait. Sean disappear? Wait, I've lost.
I'm here.
Okay, you're still here. The concurrent viewers has been dropping like a rock. Outro. Next meeting number. No.
Tells me there's 4 watching now.
Oh, mine says 3. Oh, okay, wait. So this number needs to change to 256 for the next meeting. And this meeting number is going to go to OXFF. Oh no, it's too big. I have to work on the sizing.
Yeah.
Can I do lowercase ff? Does that look weird?
No.
It has to be capital.
Weird. Yeah.
The uppercase takes more space. All right, sorry, I can fix it. Oh wait, maybe there's a. Oh, there we go. No, not quite. Almost. All right, I'll fix it. Because I'm amused enough that I'll fix it. Anyway, on that note, we're done. On to the next thing. It's fantastic. Thanks for being here as always, Zach. And we'll see you hopefully in 12 days. Hopefully Tuesday doesn't throw you off, and a whole bunch of other people. And then, wow, we'll be done. And on to, I guess, WiX 5s. We'll have to start talking about that. Or no, or just wallowing in shame of the first few bugs of WiX 4. That might be actually another thing.
Or both.
Or both. That's true. Might be both. So anyway, we will be back 2 weeks later.
Bye.
Bye.